What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Russo N Goodwin Show. I am your solo host, Anthony. Today, our good friend Coach is on a business work trip in Texas right now and is on site and may possibly stop by depending on his schedule. But as of now, we're going to be running this show solo. We're going to be short and sweet too. I mean, it's LSU BAMA week, right? I think a lot of focus on LSU football right now is not on that game and is on who potentially is the next head coach going to be. Now, as all of you probably know, if you don't, lots of drama took place this week with LSU regarding the politics side of things. On Tuesday, we had – so let's just start from the beginning, right? Brian Kelly gets fired. Last Thursday, a week from now, Scott Woodward got fired due to basically the governor just cutting his legs off and basically saying he has no decision in the next head coach. So that was basically a self-proclaimed public firing there. So that ended up becoming official on Thursday. The next day, they had a press conference and advised that the interim athletic director is going to be a guy named Verge Alsbury. Now, that after Friday, I think everyone felt good, right? I think everyone kind of knew we were getting a new president on Tuesday. We had a vacant position there. So fast forward to Tuesday, as expected, newly anointed LSU president Wade Roos was confirmed to be the president. He is from McNeese, and several hours after that announcement was made, sent a firm message basically reiterating, hey, we're removing the tag of interim, and Verge is our guy. Verge is going to be the AD. Yeah, hey man, what's up, buddy? So basically what happened was yesterday in I will say it was documented interview, it wasn't public, but an interview came out basically saying the president was like, we're removing the tag, but then we're going to assess where he stands, in a couple of weeks. Basically like walking back his comments of making Verge the full-on guy, the full-on athletic director. That was yesterday. Lots of people, lots of media were pissed off because they were already mad about the Scott Woodward firing. A lot of people were rubbed, including myself, the wrong way. I think, given everything that happened with Brian Kelly, I get it. But the way that all played out with the governor getting involved, doing that public interview, I wasn't a huge fan of it. So today, basically, Roos came out and said, hey, Verge is our guy. So, we're back on the track. I just think the flip-flopping, the inconsistencies just puts a huge detriment on the coaching job. Hopefully everything is quiet from now, where he just, everyone stays quiet for the next couple of weeks, and we can finally have some steam rolling into December, where the head coaching job will hopefully come to a popular name. So that is where we're at on the LSU politics / the board side of things. Let's talk about the game. So LSU is traveling to Tuscaloosa on Saturday. That's a 6:30 kickoff. As predicted, LSU is a 9.5 point dog, which some might argue is not enough. Obviously, I think with interim coach Frank Wilson at the helm, he's going to provide a much-needed boost to this team, right? Is it too late, though? I think that's the big question. Is this team, will they have enough juice to compete? I think Frank has the mindset to do that. It's just we're in a different era now, man. Like NIL, transfer portal, so many X factors can play into whether a guy gives it his all and checks out early or not, right? Like back in the day, even 6 or 7 years ago, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But now, with all that in mind, with the recent firing of Brian Kelly, that just opens up for players to either sit out or transfer or, do whatever they want. And we just don't know if the effort's going to be there. Now, Frank Wilson did state in his press conferences this week that they are going to run the ball, which is something Trey has been emphasizing to do on his Catching Up with Coach. By the way, always check out his episodes on Tuesday. He does a great job breaking that out, and he's a great motivator. Now, will they, does anyone from the show or for anyone from the team listen? Probably not. I think Trey personally has false hope when it comes to LSU, but it's, I'm never going to fault someone for having hope. I think the spread's about right, personally. I think this game will probably be close in the first half. However, I think Bama pulls away in the end. So from a betting perspective, I would say probably stay away from this. This could go – I could see any outcome playing out here. I can see LSU winning the game. I can see LSU losing by one possession. I can see LSU getting, the brakes beat off of them. I have no idea how this game is going to play out. So not a lot on the spectrum of the game breakdown. I think everyone knows what we're here for, and I just wanted to provide a breaking report for those, and we'll close the show on this. Vegas is typically right on everything. Vegas, offshore sites, on legal sites, Vegas has a great edge on sports knowledge. So on the offshore sites, Bet Online being one of them, Bet US is another one, Bovada, MyBookie. For those of you that don't keep up with betting, I'll try and translate this in a way that you understand. They'll put odds up for the next head coach, for example, of LSU, for Arkansas, for Florida, and Auburn now, newly, after Hugh Freeze got fired. When Brian Kelly got fired, the odds for the LSU job were interesting, right? John Summerall was like a plus 190 favorite. So if I were to wager $10, you would get 19 in return. So you would get back a total of 29 if that were to hit. Basically, the closer you are to even, or if you're in a minus or negative, the more of a favorite you are. Well, the favorite was John Summerall. He was plus 190. Fast forward to Saturday, Tulane gets the grab out of him. So, that drops his odds down. Joe Brady is currently the favorite at plus 300, which is about where he was even with John Summerall as the favorite. And then Lane Kiffin was always third. Now he's second in odds at plus 375, followed by Saban, which is interesting because Saban was a 4-digit. He was in the bottom 5 of candidates on this list. So the fact that he's already third in this, and the rumors have been swirling that, one, there's been planes heading to Saban to go visit him. We've had, several rumors about contract offerings for him, like 3 years, 20 a year, and then, possibly being the AD when he relinquished or he picks the next head coach. Those rumors, I heard, have validity to them. Now, whether there was an official offer made, probably not. But I would bet money conversations have been taking place from a surface level. So the fact that he is 4-1 based on where we started a couple of weeks ago is impressive. The reason I'm here is because today, Lane Kiffin, who was plus 400 and was like the 5th or 6th favorite to land the Florida job, is now an overwhelming favorite at minus 150. I don't know if that's a smokescreen. I don't know if that is just tea leaves being spilt. I don't know. Coaches, if Lane's smart, he's going to wait as long as he can. He's going to throw out tea leaves left and right, and he's going to leverage this to the best of his ability to get as much money as possible. But he moved from plus 330 to minus 150. So basically, like I said, to get to negative money, to minus money, the closer you are to that or over, that means you are a favorite. You are the leading favorite. So if you were to bet $10, you would only return like 6 or 7 on that compared to, the John Summerall comparison at plus 190, you would return a $19 return on 10 bet. So Interesting news there. Like I said, Vegas doesn't typically lie. Eli Drinkwitz was always the favorite to land the Florida job because I think the presumption was either Lane is going to stay at Ole Miss or go to LSU. Now, interesting enough, Eli Drinkwitz is like 10th in the odds for the LSU head coach. He's plus 1,800. So if you bet $10 on him, you would get back $180. So it's just interesting to keep up with the Vegas odds because Vegas is typically right. Now they're not always right, and like this could change depending on the rumors. But given the edge, and this is a big development, minus 150 from plus 350 is crazy, and something significant must have happened. I don't know if it was publicly disclosed or if it was behind closed doors, but for that to be such a big jump is insane. Arkansas has a wide open search. Some say Petrino is going to get that, but James Franklin's been a name that's popping up for Arkansas. Do I personally think he's going to take that job? No. And now with Auburn in the race, they have John Summerall on their minds, and he is now the plus 190 favorite to land that job. I'm thinking, gun to my head right now, and we're going to close the show on this. John Summerall is going to Auburn. I think Eli Drinkwitz is going to Florida. I think Lane Kiffin is staying in Ole Miss. That's all I can give you. I truly don't know what's going to happen with the LSU job. Joe Brady's not coming. You've got to make Nick Saban tell you no. I know a lot of Louisiana media thinks there's a realistic chance. Personally, I just don't see it happening. But you have to make him tell you no. I just don't see that playing out. So who does that leave you with? John Summerall's off the board in my hypothetical. James Franklin is probably not going to be the guy. Eli Drinkwitz is gone. Dan Lanning has already said no. That leaves you with two options. And I'll even throw a third one out. Clark Lee, Brent Key, Kenny Dillingham. I don't personally agree with the Clark Lee take. I think while he's done a great job with Vanderbilt, need to see more, in my opinion. Now, once again, I'm going to support whoever the coach is. But, from a 1,000-foot view, Brent Key, interesting take. Georgia Tech rolling on all cylinders, even though they just lost, so that's unfortunate. I don't think he leaves. Kenny Dillingham's someone to keep your eye on, if it's me. Now, I know he's got a lot in Arizona State. He's got a lot of ties there. But he's a young and hungry dude who's had success there. And, another person I can get behind. Obviously, I had suggested Eli Drinkwitz was going to be my number one pick, given that Lane Kiffin is off the table. We'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But like I said, we're going to keep this short and sweet, close to 15 minutes. Thank you all for liking and subscribing to the channel. And like I said, Trey will be back on Tuesday from his work trip. But, man, interesting developments with the coaching. We'll always make at least 1 or 2 videos a week on that because, it's the most important thing in my opinion. Obviously, we're going to be cheering for LSU this weekend. I think the more realistic wins come after this week. You've got Arkansas, which I think you can win. You've got Oklahoma, and you've got Western Kentucky, I believe. So it's going to be a tough 4-game stretch. However, we're going to still be cheering for our Tigers. We're not going to ever pull against them. This is going to be the first game without Brian Kelly in the last couple of years. We will see what Frank Wilson can do. So that is all from me. 15 minutes close to the dot. We will see you guys next week.